Ladies and gentlemen, Herald
Hey, kia ora koutou, et whānau. Welcome back to another edition of Big Hairy News. He's Chewy, I'm Hairy Emily. Is that how we do it? We flip it over and do the other person's name? Is that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah, let's roll with that.
Or are we going to go back to our normal names now to stop confusing everybody?
No, it's too late. We're committed.
It's too late. Hey guys, I've been off for a couple of nights. Lovely to be back with you. I did check out on both of the shows. To be honest, I'm not a heap better, but I don't know what this is, true. There's a bit of a cold going around. It didn't have a massive peak at 90. It just kind of stayed on about 60, 70 the whole time. So I'm pretty much the same. That's what took me out
last week.
Yeah, but I'm harder than Chewy. That's why I came back.
I don't get sick very often at all.
Yeah.
So when something takes me out for, I think 2 or 3 days, I think it was, it's usually pretty gnarly. And, I've talked to a lot of people. It's ripped through my workplace, separate from me getting it, because I assume I got it up in Wellington. Yay illness.
Yeah, it's strange getting sick because, as everybody knows, we do this out of our mother's basements and don't go out into the public very much. So I'm not really around people very often. But it's out there, it's around. I'm doing much. You can probably still hear a little bit of my voice, and I might have to turn off the mic occasionally to have a sneeze. I've got sneezes today. Don't know why I got sneezes, but that seems to be the thing that's kicked in today.
I tell you what you missed out on last night, Pat. We had Dr. Robert Patman on, and we were talking about the Ukrainian negotiations and all of that sort of stuff. And we had a bit of a wee phenomenon.
I heard. We had
a lot of new names. A lot of new names with a lot of old Russian talking points. It was really interesting. And sort of on that, I went back because I don't often look at the comments of our clips. I interact with the live chat and that sort of thing. And just flicking back through some of our shows over the last month, you get the comments from the live show and when we do the clips, a couple of days later and that sort of thing. But where the real interest is the people that comment on a video that's sort of 4 or 5 weeks old.
Yeah.
And we might be talking about Jacinda, or we might be talking about COVID or something like that. And all the cookers just come in, because nobody's looking at those videos that long after, and they're putting all of the fucking jab Cinder and the clot vaccine and all of this sort of stuff, and it's just so tragic. Guys, get over it. You lost. You're wrong. We've all moved on.
That sounds like a chant. You've lost. You're wrong, and we have all moved on. Speaking of chants,
that's not bad.
You don't mind that one? All right.
No, that's good.
I was watching a bit last night. You guys didn't see, I don't think, but I actually made a little comment out of Facebook because Facebook has got a new little feature, and that is, it's currently not showing me it though. Facebook has got a thing. It's a bit like Super Chats. You can do a thing called stars, and we have been approved to have stars on our Facebook page. You pay
we should
$1.69 and you get 50 stars or something like that. That's because I've changed. I didn't want to change. I wanted to be me. I want to be me. I don't want to be the Big Hairy Network. I had a bit of a listen last night. It was awesome. The thing I liked most of all was how I said to Emily, he said we can have 10 minutes. It's important that we keep him for 10 minutes because he's asked for 10 minutes. As you guys wrapped up at what was it, 9:40?
Yes, no, that was a good chat, and it's one of the things that I came out of that. We've had Dr. Patman on the show quite a few times. He's always a great guest. but it's always good when someone with a title and a position and a great big old brain like he does agrees with something that I say, because I am a dumb little troll that did a Polytech radio course and lives under a bridge. And sometimes I'm like, do the things I say about geopolitics make sense? And then we get Dr. Robert Patman goes, that's a really good point, Chewy. And I just go, wee, yay,
Yeah, we used to do that.
Smart.
When we were producers, when I was a producer working on various ZB shows, sort of as a student, part-time person, whatever it was, and every time an interviewee would say, that's a really good question, all the mics would go off and everyone would go, yay!
Fuck yeah!
You're looking for it. So let me show you this thing on Facebook. So this was me last night. You see me? Look, I commented last night. Looking good tonight, team. That Robert Patman is a sexy mofo. I'm as high as a kite on flu meds. Good night. But you see, it's got. I sent us 50 stars. So that's there. So down here, there's this little option, and you go give stars, and you can do that. And I don't know if it comes up in the chat that we see, but we thought we'd let you know what this new little system is. I have been very, very busy the last few days. I've been working on stuff that I normally don't get a chance to work on because I'm prepping and editing and all that kind of stuff as well. So I've been working on stuff for next year, connecting with people about things for next year, talking to, a lot of that stuff going on, working on the website. The website's got a new feature now at the moment. Not that I plan to start off like this, but we often get people saying, that they'd like to donate something, but they don't know how to do super chat and they don't want to go through Patreon. So right now on the BHN page, there's a place that you can just donate right there. And you can make it apparently up to, Chewy. Do you want to guess what it goes up to? Have a guess. The biggest amount.
69.
420. They were doing funny as well. No, 100,000.
Either of the funny numbers.
Just if anyone wants to ever do that, it goes up to 100k. So on the BHN page, up there by Patreon, there's a little thing to the side that says donate. And there are people who have asked us to find a different way of doing it. And there it is, right there, donate. We'll change the picture. I'll think about getting Emily to do a picture of us doing this on the donate, like as a donate thing. I think that would be funny. And so that's about it. And I feel completely wrong now about showing you the merch store and the Patreon, because I don't want it to be like, here's the fourth thing to talk about money about. But one thing about the merch store is because I've been down ill, I've done no work on the merch store, which means those flash hot pink hoodies are still there. And so if anyone missed out last week, you might actually be able to get in for one last night. And I haven't had time to take them off. But if you did get stuff in the merch, it was all sent out today. So everyone's up to date. There's no back orders waiting for us. There was a bit of a run over the weekend because people were saying, this hoodie's going. And it is. I just haven't had the time to take it down yet. So I'll probably take it down tomorrow. So one last chance if you'd like to get one of those hot pink BHN hoodies. Chewy, tonight on the show, we're going to talk to Chlöe. We're not going to talk to Chlöe. We're going to talk about Chlöe when she was talking to David Seymour. They had quite a big chat today on big Herald News about the teacher strike. So we'll have a look at that. Also, Hannah Tamaki versus Bomber. Hilarious. One of the best viewing things you'll see in the last wee while. And basically, Hannah Tamaki. Can I say something without sounding too judgy? This is more of an observation than a judgment on someone. She doesn't come off as very smart. And I wonder if, for someone to go along to talk to someone like Bomber and not be aware of the kind of questions that would come towards you, these are not the questions we agreed to, so to speak. You didn't do your homework. So we'll have a look at that and a bit of the fallout today. There's been a press release about Bomber, and there's been another statement made by Hannah Tamaki, all about Bomber's handlers and what they did, whoever they are. I don't know.
His handlers? Bomber's handlers. I can think of a less handleable man.
And Matthew Tukaki's handlers as well. I don't know what that's all about.
Oh, yeah, right.
Probably WEF. Is it say WEF? WEF, UN,
yeah.
Jacinda.
Globalist agenda.
Globalist, WEF, UN, Jacinda. Those are the four. Yeah. Yes, and we've got a guest coming up, next president of the PPTA, Chris Abercrombie and Finch. Just Chris Abercrombie. Yes, Chewy.
Just before we kick into it, because I know people want to know the update on my passport. I have not found my passport at this stage. There is now less than a month until I go away. So on Friday night, I ordered a new one, right? And I got a phone call Monday afternoon going, hello, Chewy's real human name. I've got your passport application on my desk in front of me. I've just got a couple of questions. Can I confirm your full name and your date of birth? And I gave that. They go, excellent. Right. So some of that information that you just gave me to confirm who you are, you didn't put on your passport application. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? She goes, you didn't put your first and your middle name on your passport application.
You just put Chewy.
I just put my last name. I'm because just roll with my last name, right? So rather than doing the big bad government thing of just bouncing back your application going, you're a fucking idiot, do it again, they just rang me to confirm it, and my passport is now on the way. Fuck,
I love New Zealand. Isn't that cool? Can you imagine anyone else, anywhere else in the world? Oh, that'll do. Sweet as, bro. Hey, I've got a question. I've got a question. Now, don't start being silly with super chats, people, but I wonder, Chewy, have you ever thought, because I'm sure we could cover it, have you ever thought of legally changing your name to Chewy?
I have.
Have you ever investigated
it? I have looked into it. I think it's a really nominal fee, and it has been very tempting in the past.
Are you allowed to have just one name? Could you be Chewy like Cher or Elvis?
I think when I looked at it, because I was gonna change both my first and my last name, and leave my middle name as it is. But it would be Chewy and last name ! You can't do that.
Okay.
I was told that you can't do that. But yeah, it's an interesting one because everyone in my life knows me as Chewy.
Including your mother and your wife. Yeah.
Doesn't call me by my real name anymore. So yeah, I've thought about it. Maybe one day. Maybe if we get enough Patreon.
Well,
500 Patreon.
What? It's funny you would say that. We're on about 465. So the reach to 500 is not very far away.
Oh shit.
Yes, and Chewy just said that, Fano. Chewy's just said that. Also, just speaking of little milestones, we are on about 19,200-ish YouTube followers, so 800 away from 20,000. And officially now, Pat no longer has a TikTok account. It is the Big Hairy Network, and it's on 19,900. Cool. So we've changed it. I'm probably going to change so I've changed some of my personal stuff to the show stuff. So Big Hairy Network is now the TikTok. Big Hairy Network is obviously the YouTube. Probably going to turn Twitter into Big Hairy Network as well, because basically I'm using them for all that stuff anyway, so I might as well just transfer them all over. And then I don't have a footprint anymore, which is lovely. So I don't have it's not about me. Anyway, look, this is our 3-minute talk before we get to our guest. It's 13 minutes past, so time to get the heck out of Dodge and talk to the president of the PPTA. It is Chris Abercrombie. Good evening, sir.
Kia ora.
How are you?
Good. Yeah. No, it's been a big day. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think we need to do something first of all. I feel with that beard, Chewy, he has to be the top of the ticket. Do you agree? Like I just think the superior beard gets the priority. Hang on, if it gets the priority position, that means it should be like this as well. The bottom, so I think that seems fair.
I just need to acknowledge the fact that the chat has been admiring your beard during your media rounds like all week. So we're very glad to have you here.
You guys commented on that, I think, earlier in the week, and it was some of the most feedback I've ever got from friends and family. You've been commented about here.
It's like, you go on One News, doesn't mean anything. Go on here, doesn't mean anything. BHN, through the roof.
Talk about your beard, that's it. You've made it.
Dude. Hey, I think what we'll do, Chris, is we'll have a look at the story from One News. It's only about 2.5 minutes. That'll give us a bit of a nutshell from around the country, and then we'd love to get into a few of the nuts and bolts with you and find out more about why this happened, what's happening next. what the government thinks they're doing with a 1% offer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So why don't we start there? We will start with Mr. Simon Dallow and tonight's One News item talking about the strike.
Following the high school teachers' strike today, the Public Service Commissioner says work's underway on a revised pay offer, but he's still calling the union's current claim unaffordable and unreasonable, saying the PPTA has refused to offer any real compromise. Sophie.
Naughty PPTA. Hey, naughty.
We're the
troublemakers.
19,000 teachers off the job today. With many.
It's the music department from Akaroa School. I'm thinking.
I reckon.
What? One teacher on a trumpet.
Gathering across dozens of locations around the country. All protesting a pay offer the unions dubbed the worst in a generation.
The offer that the government gave us was just insulting, honestly. They got a pay rise, they gave themselves a pay rise.
Teachers say it's not only about the government's pay offer, but also about the increasing workload and challenges they face, not to mention big changes in the education system, such as the upcoming overhaul of NCEA.
The workload goes on.
Always a lot of planning, there's always a lot of evaluation.
We've got an ageing profession, over 1,000 roles currently advertised.
Recent comments from ministers have also fueled frustrations, particularly this one last week.
Someone with 10 years experience is on about $140,000.
Which the minister's since admitted she got wrong.
A whole load of rubbish. I'm really angry about that. I'm really hurt.
There's no way that teachers are anywhere near that.
If you are earning $147,000, you are not a teacher. I've been teaching for 24 years, and my average paycheck hasn't shown up yet.
Some made comparisons with politicians' pay.
There used to be a time where teachers and MPs were paid the same. It's really disappointing when they start talking about, what teachers...
Hey, Chewy, it's the guy on the telly. There's
two of them.
There's two of them. Be paid when
Something's going on.
We need a well-resourced, well-supported workforce.
The education ministers accused the union of using our kids as bargaining chips.
The bargaining seats were barely warm by the time they decided to go on their strike. And if you look at all the slick marketing that they had prepared and all of the venues that they had booked, it looks extraordinarily like it was premeditated.
The PPTA rejects that it's bargained in bad faith, saying it explains the need for a reasonable pay increase, more pastoral care staffing and professional development.
In the new agreement, it's 1% pay plus a bunch of clawbacks of things that we've already fought for, and we won't stand for it.
Students return to school desks tomorrow and their teachers to the bargaining table next week. Sophie Trigger, One News.
All right, there's the One News story, Chris. Why don't you give us a bit of a nutshell about what you saw today, what you were up to today, and let's hear about today from your perspective. What happened? What went on?
Oh, well, from my perspective, it was a really successful strike day. We had pickets all around the country, amazing teachers out there sharing their stories about the issues we're facing in education at the moment. I was up in Auckland with about 100 teachers outside Erica's office. Really, really awesome little mini rally. We did some singing, we had some speeches, and just talking to teachers about the stuff they're dealing with every day.
I want to ask a question based on an interview we're going to do in a wee while. We're going to look at this now. Sure, we'll look at this after you've gone. David Seymour this morning said this, and it's really important. Like it feels like the $127,000 nurses and the $147,000 teachers, and that these guys are just throwing out numbers that come back to not being accurate. Judith has said that she made a mistake. She's withdrawn. I'm sure the ramifications from those words flow on though, because 10% of people will hear the apology where 100% of them heard the actual accusation. But in an interview we're about to watch, David Seymour says this. This is a direct quote. Teachers' pay has gone up about 14% in the last few years. Now, he's suggesting, I guess, that this means they're being difficult. It might only be a 1% one this year, but it's been 14% over the last few years. Can you shine some light on that statement for us?
So the number's about right, but what he's missing is the context of that. That was after industrial action. That was after an independent arbitration panel, went and said, actually, this is what teachers need. And it's still actually far behind. We need, for us to be right now, teachers to be at 1985 levels of median wage, need an 11% increase today to be back to Muldoon era pay rates. And so... You know, that's where we sort of judge ourselves is that level there. We like, you know, we know when it's a bit technical, but when we're 1.74% of the median wage, that's when we have really good recruitment. We've got really good retention, and we'd need 11% today to get us back to Muldoon era, that level. So that's not incorrect what he said, but it's missing a lot of context.
So the 14% you're saying is correct.
Yeah.
But that hasn't even got you back to pay parity with the mid-80s.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, and it's just, and also that was a catch-up of years of underpay. And as I say, like that, we had to have the hardest industrial action we've done in 20 years. We went to an independent arbitration panel. First time we've done that since the early 2000s. And it's just, you know, we had to really go all out to get that.
Chewy, jump in and ask a question because I'm going to talk about the $147,000 shortly.
I find the timing of all of this quite interesting. Like, there's your guys' pay negotiation and industrial action happening at the same time that the government is saying our educational achievement is in the toilet, our literacy is in the toilet, NCEA isn't working, so we've got to throw that out the window. Also, the curriculum's fucked, so we've pulled a new one out of John Key's side hustle, and we want to implement that in just a couple of months. Do you find that this stuff going hand in hand is just the way things are, or do you think it's a tactic to go, these teachers asking for more money and doing a bad job is part of it?
It definitely feels that way. And same with the charter schools. David Seymour talking about charter schools, and they've mentioned performance pay for teachers and all of this. It all feels very, very connected. And we know, like, when we just got so much change, like as you mentioned, the curriculum and assessment, like this is the changes that they're suggesting are as significant as when we move from school cert to NCA. Like it's the same level. And it's just, you know, they just don't seem to be wanting teachers available to do that work. Like, it's just crazy.
There's about 105,000 teachers in New Zealand, all teachers, right across the whole thing. This is the thing I worked out the other day, and I've revised it a little bit. Right now, today, the government could give all 105,000 of those teachers a $6,000 pay rise today. Slap, boom, there, done. That would cost $630 million. The week after, they've told us it's costing $671 million to cancel the ferries. Of course, that then includes $3 billion back to landlords, $14 billion in tax cuts. This is not a big expense to put a decent offer on the table. The other thing that we're going to, and I don't want to kind of burn all the, whatever it's called, about powder dry. The other thing that the guys talk about off the Herald this morning, which we'll watch later, is but we've got no money. This is what both Ryan Bridge and David said, but there's no money to actually pay people more. And then I go, you know, $3 billion to landlords, $14 billion in tax cuts, $1 billion to big tobacco, you know, 671 million to no ferries. There is enough money. It's just what they choose to do with that money.
It's all a choice. It's all a political choice. That's all this is. And I've got no time for the there's no money conversation, because there's money for, if you make the choice, if you wanted to fund education, if you wanted to fund health, if you wanted to fund social services, the money's there. It's just a political choice. And so today's like today is to try and change that political choice. That's the point of industrial action.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing sorry, Joe, you go.
Sorry, I was going to say, words out of Judith Collins' own mouth. If the money is needed, the money can be found. I mean, she was talking about helicopters, which are much cooler than teachers. But still, the logic stands, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you value it, and we talk about this in education, if you value it, you resource it. As simple as that, you know? And so it's really clear what the government values.
Yeah. Judith Collins, I'm just having a look for something for you, Chewy. You should have given me a heads up, shouldn't you? Judith Collins on spending, how much was it? 9 billion? Is that right?
Oh, it's definitely capital B billion.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is
out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Not budgeted for. Not in the financial budget or anything like that.
Yeah.
We need to do more for military. So
because
lazy 8 or 9 billion. Sorry, because it needed to be found.
Yeah, this is it.
Look, the money will be found because it has to be found. So it's it's a lot of money, but it's needed.
It's a lot of money, but it's needed, which means teachers, you guys, your money's not needed for you, because she said very clearly that if it's needed, of course we'll find it. There's plenty down the back of the couch. We'll just go looking for it where we want. We want helicopters, but teachers, it's not needed. The question that Chewy brought up before, the thing about the NCEA changes, when they first talked about it in the news, they were like to be fully implemented by 2030. And I was a bit like, well, 5 years to bed something in, that's probably okay. And then they went, and it's starting, the changes are starting next year in year 9, like their changes. So it's 4 months. Yeah. So 4 months for changes for year 9s. And we're in a consultation period, so that's going to be a couple of months. So it's going to be 2 months for changes for the complete way that year 9s are taught. How are teachers reacting to that? What's going to happen with that?
I mean, the reality is it's the timelines are just far too tight, and we know what happens when you rush it. It turns to shit, to be frank. And so we know that everyone wants a good curriculum, everyone wants a good assessment. Everyone wants that, and so to do that, you need time and you need resourcing. You cannot rush these things. If you want it done cheap, you rush it, go for it. But if you want it good, you have to give it time and resource. And at the same time, this is the other thing, teachers are going to be doing new curriculum, new assessment, old assessment. There's going to be crossover of all of that at the same time. And, this may be the best curriculum ever and it may be the best assessment, but if you don't have the workforce to do it, it's pointless.
So on some levels, it's almost like until that gets bedded in for the whole secondary school, teachers are doing 2 different jobs, double the work.
Absolutely.
And you can have 1% if you're lucky.
And you can have, if you're lucky, 1%, yeah.
I do want to look at.
Don't worry, we got a pay rise a few years ago, so it's fine.
I do want to have a look at this, and I'll go back and find the name of the person who sent this to me. I'm grateful for it. Really interesting. And we know that they've admitted that the 147,000's not the case, but there's a TikTok or a Facebook, whatever this is here, which actually spells out how wrong it is to get that into people's heads.
Apparently, teachers can make up to $147,000. I thought it would be a good time to actually dig into some maths and show you guys a few things. Now, to look at this in normal distribution curve, we've got 147,000 here. In the middle, we've got 100,000. And then the beginning teacher, who actually end up here, on roughly, let's go, 65,000. This little group that end up making up to 147,000, these guys are usually DPs and the associate principal of something that level. So it's pretty much the top of the scale that we're talking about. Right now, in the Education Gazette, there is roughly 1,006 vacancies. The number of jobs that actually offer 147K is a total of 2. That's correct. There is only 2 jobs where you can actually get more than 140,000, and that's out of 1,006 jobs that are actually advertised.
So I think that kind of puts that to bed fully, but I think I saw you take a breath in there, Chewy. There is another question to be asked about 1,000 jobs being advertised. Yep. Can we speak to that?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely ridiculous. I've been a head of department, I've been a dean, and to have that many jobs advertised, that's primary and secondary, because I had to look on the Gazette yesterday as well, because I wanted to see, actually, is there any 147,000 jobs going?
Yeah, there's 2.
There's 2, yeah.
You can have one of those.
And for that many jobs to be advertised right now, this time of year, is just ridiculous. Like, normally in October, that was when I was a student teacher, that was what it was talked about. October was the big time. You got your big, thick Ed Gazette, and that's when you started applying for jobs. But to have 1,000 now before the peak season is just ridiculous.
So you're saying your expectation is it'll be bigger in a month than 1,000?
Yeah, and in October, you'll start. People start making decisions about what they're going to do in the next year. Schools will start making decisions around staffing, and I'll expect that to be above 1,000. Another 200, 300, 400 jobs, I'd say.
Wow. Gosh, that's the thing about that. If there's 1,005 teachers and you're up towards 1,500, you're around the 1% mark. 1% of teachers are positions are available. That seems huge. Could you imagine anything else in this country to have that kind of that number or that proportion of jobs needed? Or yes, Chewy.
I do. I can think of one.
Is this the other guys that are
sounds
striking?
very much like the nurses situation, right? It's not just about money, it's about conditions.
Yeah.
When we talk about education and they go, oh, we're not getting the educational achievements that we want to, and we're going to blame it on fucking who knows what. But we know what it is. It's teacher to student ratios, just like with the nurses. Nurses to patients from a point of view of safety. So it is pay and conditions. And these two huge job, I hate calling them industries. The teacher industry, because you work in an educational factory. But you get what I mean there, is that we had the same parallels happening. And we're seeing the same response from the ministers involved as well, where it's like, well, the nurses go on strike where you're putting patients at risk. The teachers go on strike, then they're putting all of these kids' education at risk. It's so selfish. Why are these people selfish? And, because I'm going to mention their pay scale, greedy. And in both cases, it has very quickly been proven to be a lie. It's almost exactly the same.
Yeah. And it's quite funny. We got you may have seen the minister talk about our slick marketing and all that. And I'm like, well, we're not the one coordinating all together with the mates, like you guys are all doing. So I found that quite funny. We've got one person doing some pretty awesome social media, and that's about it.
I just like, their campaign's really slick, and they've booked all of these locations around, and it's like, have you not noticed that you're talking about the teachers with an entire arts and crafts department? And have you seen teachers organising field trips and stuff? They can get shit done. And you're pissed off an entire union full of them.
There's a bit of a meme going around about with Erica Stanford saying, how do you book the footpath outside Macca's? I need to know for a friend.
One other thing, Chris, we sort of came to the conclusion last week that with the government doing this, exactly what Chewy's saying, but won't we think of the children? They're harming the children. They're harming the patients. What that is that's the language of an abuser, I can't leave this relationship because of the kids. That's what this government's doing. So this government's actively setting themselves in a position where they are using language that an abusive male would use towards his partner to keep her in check because she's got to look after the kids. I think that's fair, and I think that needs to be spoken of more as to what these guys are up to. Because as Chewy said, and then you guys turn up to be greedy as well. Because you're flashing the cash. It's not on, and we need more people up there speaking about it and talking about it.
And I think too, it's just none of us want industrialization. None of us want to be here. We want to be in the classroom. That's why you become a teacher, to teach. You don't do it to stand on picket lines and stand in the rain in cases in a lot of places around there in the cold. And you do it because you want to teach, and you love teaching, and you love helping the next generation. But the biggest threat to our young people in education is not having subject specialist teachers in front of them. We talked about that 1,000 jobs at the moment. We know, we've surveyed principals, the least amount of applicants per job we've ever had since we've started 1996. So it's on average 1.47 applicants per job. And so we know schools are taking people because they are legally allowed to be in the classroom. Then they need someone to be there.
The media is reporting that the ministry is going to relook at their offer. A, do you have much faith in that? B, what happens next?
I always get accused of being an optimist, so I'm always optimistic. I think teachers have to be frank. So we're meeting next week with them on Monday, Tuesday next week. More mediated bargaining, and look, I'm really hopeful that we can get a deal, but I'm also not holding my breath.
What do they have to do? Because I understand the 1% offer wasn't even presented, and the government's going like, meh. I get that. It's like telling your real estate agent if you want $800K for your house, that not to even bother with anything under $750, just decline it. We don't need to speak to you. So I get it. That's not a big problem. What do they need to do for you guys to take it to the members?
So pay needs to go up. Let's just be really clear about that. It needs to be raised. But there's other really key areas, and you saw it in the story, like pastoral care. Like we really need more pastoral care time. So the way I sort of like explaining it to people, think of it like a triangle. So you've got guidance counselors at the top, right? They're dealing with the high needs. But the problem is there's no support in the community. So they're dealing with stuff they shouldn't really be dealing with, like that's community mental health, whatever. Youth mental health services should be dealing with it, but they just don't exist or they're not available. So they're dealing with really high end. And then the triangle is pushed down to deans. So deans are dealing with stuff they shouldn't be dealing with because the guidance counsellors can't deal with it, so it's getting pushed down. And then what deans should be dealing with is getting pushed down to teachers. So they're not getting focused on the teaching and learning or actually dealing with that really low level stuff that just now gets ignored because there's no time. So we really need pastoral care time. Our young people are just, it's so hard, I think, for older people to sort of understand the world these teenagers live in. Like,
yeah.
I sort of joke, when I was at school, my students said, did bullying happen? I said, of course it happened. But I said, no one rang up the landline to go, hello, Mrs. Abercrombie, can I please bully your son? And so they're just dealing with the constant 24-hour nature of the world. And it's so different. And I think a lot of us don't really understand, unless you're around teenagers, don't really understand what they're dealing with.
Yeah. Anything else, Chewy?
Yeah, so I mentioned the nurses and the very similar situation that they're in there. Does the teachers' union and the nurses' union coordinate?
I wouldn't go as far to say coordinate for legal reasons. No.
Right, you might happen to be at the same cafe and hear the conversation from the table next door. And
exactly. Well, honestly, we've gone to their strikes. We had a nurse speak at ours. We had the firefighters come and speak. The firefighters have been amazingly supportive because they're dealing with really similar issues, these really cornerstone parts of our society, are really struggling. And so we're absolutely talking with other unions, through the CTU and other organizations. And our members, they're like, hey, look, NZEI primary schools, they're doing paid union meetings at the moment. Nurses are on strike. Firefighters are going to go on strike. Public servants. Let's have these conversations to see what we can do.
But if all of those things happened at the same time and there was strike action at the same time, that is purely a coincidence, and it's just it's just how the schedules worked out.
Exactly.
Right.
And also, I can't tell nurses what to do, and nurses can't tell us what to do. But if we all happen to agree, it's sort of planned. If it happens, is what I'm going to say.
Chris, let Pip know that if you guys ever need to come on, talk to us. You're always welcome. Don't sit back and have us reach out to you guys. You guys are more than welcome to come to us and come on whenever you like. It's been, if for no other reason, we could just put you in the corner, just so you could sit there with your beard.
Exactly.
And anytime we needed to have a thought, we could rub the magic beard or something, and that would work quite well.
No, so, I love it. And you mentioned Robert Patman. I took his Polls 101 when I was at Otago Uni, and so it's always great watching him too.
Yeah, cool. Hey, well, thanks for joining us. I don't know how you quite say pass on our best to all the teachers. We'll do that anyway.
We'll do. But, absolutely.
But don't be a stranger. Come back again, and we'll talk to you super soon. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone.
All the best, Chris.
Cheers, mate.
President of the PPTA, Chris Abercrombie. Was it Abercrombie and Fitch or Finch? You know that song?
Fitch, I think.
Fitch. That's all I think about. And let me say it's a thanks to Kim, who sent us through Facebook the video that we just played at the end there. Anything you want to add? Because we've got it's official. This is official metric in the new maths curriculum. A shit ton of super chats to get through.
Oh shit! Yes, we do. No, look, I just want people to keep in their heads with all of these pay negotiations that they are for the same thing. It is not just pay. The government is going to want to focus in on pay. They're going to lie about pay scales. They're going to make insinuations that these guys are living in mansions and take holidays all the time, which is just fucking bullshit. Actually, as an aside, I saw on Reddit, there is a subreddit called Conservative Kiwi. It is an absolute fucking sewer 99% of the time. Somebody put up a thread in there about the general strike and just basically implied that teachers were all losers and they work 8 hours a day, 4 days a week and can get all the holidays and that sort of thing. And that person got jumped on by other conservatives.
Oh, that's good.
So the support for teachers is broad. But yeah, what I was saying is, it's not just about the money. It's about the conditions. It's about making sure that the work is spread, is safe. We're going to hear the same thing from the firefighters. We're going to hear the same thing from the nurses. We're going to hear the same thing from the junior doctors. Pay and conditions. Conditions, bold, all caps, underlined.
Yeah, and to think that 11% would get them pay parity for the mid-80s. That means the reality is these guys need a 30% pay increase. And that's what it means, whatever that number is. But 11% to get you to be a 40-year behind teacher salary. Unless, of course, how about the flip side? How about we also take MPs back to the equivalent of what they were earning in the mid-80s? How about we do that? That would be fair, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be fair to have those guys sorted out in the same sort of way? Just putting it out there. Let's do some super chats. Then I want to tell you, I've got an idea for a marketing scheme, and we'll see what the people want to think about that. Kiwi Bird says, Penny is seated and sorted. Vote for Orini. Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Is this the by-election?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that. I did wonder if actually it would have been something symbolic in stepping aside for Te Pāti Māori, especially when you might have to coalition with them next year. But you know, whatever, they all go for it. Apparently Arvid's misses Emily and Chewy duo. Me too. In fact, I told Chewy before the show that I'm going to quit now, and they can just do it permanently. Tumeki says, hey, kia ora boys, whānau. Great to see y'all. Great to see you too, Tumeki. Brooke, hi all. Anyone see Kieran McAnulty's speech in the House today in the general debate? Highly recommend going to watch it. Kieran was very fired up. I think you might have that queued up. Have I seen that down there?
I have it queued up and ready to go at an appropriate time.
Cool. Bobba says, bet you live. Welcome back. Yes, I do live. Riwai says, any update on merch, Matt? Oh, Riwai, it's not that I'm a bad communicator, it's just that I'm a bad human being. I will email you tonight. I might even do it during the show. I'm going to write it on my hand. And yes, we've got everything we need. I think I've even got a hoodie there for you, Riwai. I've already got it. It's just organizing my shit. Ryzen has a legal name fund. Arvid's Chewy Chewison, 69 Scariot, Liscariot, Chewy Danger, exclamation mark. Change it. What about Danger? Danger's my middle name. Gold says, here's some information for you. You need to have a religious or a philosophical reason for having just one name. The reason I gave was that I should be able to legally be recognized by the name that people that matter to me know me by. Citizen. Is not my first name. Gold is my surname. There you go. There's a bit of information for you. Chris's Hairy Network. Kiwi says the Beard Vengers, or is it the Justice Beards? Solidarity. James says Chewy Name Fund B2B the Apex Beard. Okay. Remember when Simeon said they were using patients were being used as bargaining chips? Well, I'm here, motherfucker. I saw students out today. Couple more. Peter says, David Seymour grading 0 out of 10. Please see me. Danger of Mouse under national people became bargaining chips. Andrew says, last year's rich list gained 6 billion, 119 families. We could give all 115,000 teachers a 58,000 pay rise, which would put them close to what national claim. And Big Ol' B says, tax, wealth, paid teachers, nurses, doctors. Simple, eh? Simple. Yep. All right. I had an idea. In fact, while I'm talking to you, do you want to go and unstar those so we don't mess them up? I had an idea. Sure. I don't know if anyone else out there has seen the desperation of a certain platform in the interwebs looking for money. I saw a tweet or a message last week that was like, for just $5,000, you can be at 3 meetings with the people who work here. And I'm like, oh, okay, very good. So I had a little idea.
It's a terrible deal. It's a terrible deal.
Here's my little idea. Should I advertise BHN on the platform? They seem pretty desperate. Hang on. They seem pretty desperate for cash at the moment. Maybe we can sponsor the weather or something. The platform Weather, brought to you by Big Hairy News, the home for New Zealand's leftist news. Visit bhn.nz for more. Thoughts? On Twitter, there was a mix of yes and does
your doll cover everything?
Well, I said not quite. Can you chip in a few bucks? So that was the idea I put out there. Of course, on Blue Sky, it was slightly different. It was Emily laughing, and it was no Aotearoa saying, do it. I just had an idea that it could be something. Now, here's the thing that actually is interesting about this, Selenas. Chewy, if Peter Thiel came to us and said, I'll put in $2 million for you guys to get going for the next 3 years, or even less, if the is it Zubro, whatever the name of those toys are, came in and said, we'll pay your salaries for 3 years to run it. Zuru. What would we say? I've never asked you this question, but I know. What would we say?
You want me to say no, but I would take that money and dedicate it to, okay, we will now drop everything and just make this a platform telling people what a doofus.
We would say no.
I
have to say it out loud.
No, we would say no. We would say no. I'm rude, but I do like the idea of taking $2 million from Peter Thiel and then just running content on what a fucking weird guy Peter Thiel is.
Okay, before we go down that path, I just thought, because it's pretty clear that we wouldn't. Sean Plunkett, however, your money would be as good as anybody else's. We already have a weather sponsor, though, Kiwi Fertilizers. Well, we always talk about a lot of their content being
funded by bullshit. That's interesting.
So, but that's actually the one telling part about the silliness, is that Plunkett's like, sure, yeah, if you want money, because it was all a bit of silliness. And so maybe we will. Do you think we should investigate, chat? Should we send an email?
We can't sponsor the weather.
No. Maybe we could take over Free Speech Fridays. And it could be only on the condition that you and me are on every Friday, Chewy.
I mean, the upside, the pros to this idea. Let's pro and con this. The very strong pro. It is very silly. It is very trolly. He would have to read out the copy that we gave him. That's a big plus. The downside is that we have to give him money, which is very strong. The
people
downside.
The people who have sense, not the trolls on Twitter, often were saying, please let them fail more quickly. Please don't put money in their coffers. And I get that. But then again, there was lots of other sensible people going, that's hilarious. You should do it.
Here's what we could sponsor. His wardrobe.
Oh.
He has to do his shows wearing a BHN hoodie with my face on it.
Okay, like this one? One of our new ones?
Yeah. Or our tax wealth, more tax work.
Maybe we could do a spot which is like, it's called the clothes line, and just behind him over his shoulder all the time is one piece of our merch hanging, like a different piece every day, and we could just go through we'll sponsor the clothes line.
All right, we're going to have to workshop this, but it's very clearly some good brainstorming happening.
Oh, it's very funny. All right, team. Let's have, speaking of, actually, this is another little side note, just so you guys know, we have a guest for tomorrow night. I wanted to let you know what was going on. Hannah Linden from the Greens is coming on. We're going to be talking about the Pai Ora Amendment Act, which is terrifying, and some of the things that I've had a look about inside it. So tomorrow, Hannah Linden will be joining us from the Greens to have a chat over that. Right now, though, I think it's time for the final countdown. We're going to look at some American art. I always forget the name of the piece of art I'm talking about, with the two farmers standing next to each other. American Gothic.
Oh, American Gothic.
It's time for our New Zealand's version of American Gothic. Here we go. Conversation this morning based on the teachers' strike. They talked about other things, but mostly it was about the teachers' strike. It's quite a long clip, this. I'm sure we'll cut in and out of it. But talking to Chlöe and talking to whoever this guy is, I've never seen him before, about the teachers' strike and what they're wanting, what they're asking for, what should they be getting?
Much faster than most workers in New Zealand can dream of.
Okay, sorry, we'll just miss that start and go back to the beginning. It says 24 seconds, so we'll go from about there.
Tamaki. Good morning.
Good to see you. David, are you being a bit stingy on 1%?
Yes. Yes. Next question.
Yes, I am.
I think you've got to look at it in the wider context. Teacher pay's gone up about 14% in the last few years, much faster than most workers in New Zealand can dream of in this economy and the conditions everyone's...
And in case this is a clip on YouTube by itself, as we've just been informed, 14% still leaves them 11% behind where they were in the mid-80s.
Yeah, I want to see the trend, because I would imagine it's nothing for fucking ages, and then a jump, and then nothing for fucking ages.
So what David Seymour said is correct, YouTube clip, but the 14% didn't get them to sort of pay parity 2025, 26. It got them to still being double figures behind where they would be if you took the 1985 salary and just based on inflation, took it to 2025. So yeah, it's sort of a very clever, dirty trick, which is so surprising from David Seymour.
Face lately. If you look at the average teacher, they're now over $100,000, 60% of teachers earning more than that. And I just think to go to a strike...
I remember that. I think, isn't the average salary 90 now? Am I right on that? Or the average household salary is 90? So to earn 100 is not that far off your average. So saying that in 2025 is not perhaps as big of a deal as it was perhaps 10 years ago.
Strike after a few days of negotiating, maybe a little bit trigger happy, and frankly at a time when students are starting to look at exams and so on, I would have thought that a bit more negotiating would have been responsible. But look, the union leadership have made those choices and put teachers, I suspect, in a difficult position.
Yeah, does he have a point there, Chloe? Because they didn't even take it to the membership for a vote. They just went straight to a strike, right?
Yeah, look, from what I understand, this is the lowest pay offer that teachers have received in a generation, and teachers will not be striking for no reason whatsoever. They are not doing this lightly. Teachers don't do what they do for the glory, and they definitely don't do it for the paycheck, but they have to live, and they are facing the same cost of living pressures that all of us are facing. But I think that this really comes to a bigger question that we have to ask ourselves as New Zealanders. What kind of society do we actually want to live in? Do we want to live in one where we continue to see our health sector and our education system and all of the things that we rely on for a good life, for a functional society, continue to deteriorate because we refuse to, and successive governments refuse to make the requisite investment to make those sectors flourish, which in turn means that all New Zealanders have the opportunity to flourish. And genuinely, Ryan, I think that at the end of the day, we should be a country that values, celebrates, champions, and properly resources the people who build this country every single day.
I agree.
Those are our nurses, those are our teachers, those are our firefighters.
Do you know what?
And we can do that by fixing our tax system.
You have no complaints from me here.
So this is where you see the 2-on-1, Ryan Bridge and David Seymour against Chlöe Swarbrick. And can I just confirm, the median annual household gross income in New Zealand for 2024 was $105,000. So to have one person earning 100K, it's not bad money, but it's also not amazing. If you were a family with young kids and one party chose not to work, then basically that salary would give your household about the average household income. Just putting in context what the 60% earning over 100,000 actually means in 2025.
Yeah, but the issue is, I mean, you look at Fitch yesterday about we're in a deficit. We can't be doling the money out and spending the money like, we're at the casino, when we're in a deficit and we're not even paying down our debt, the servicing costs of which are near on $10 billion.
Yeah, but Ryan, why aren't we paying down our debt? So we have this big lump of gold that goes into our coffers, a huge lump of money, like a pile of gold in the Hobbit. And if we need a certain amount to pay our debts, but the government takes like half of that or a third of that or a quarter of that pile and gives it to big tobacco and gives it to landlords and gives it in tax breaks, then there's less in that pile to pay down the debts. So there was plenty of money to do that and possibly offer a decent raise to our public workers, nurses, teachers, etc. But the government's made choices to give away. We could easily add up $20 billion without even touching the sides. And that could be, if the government wanted to be as austere with the workers, that could be $20 billion off the debt. If they had to direct it there rather than to big tobacco landlords and in tax cuts. So, yeah. So we're not going to play this game. Do you want to say anything before I push play, Chewy?
Yeah, look, I just want to caution about being too mean on Ryan Bridges. There's not a single solitary thought going on behind those beautiful brown eyes. Every opinion he's ever had comes via an earpiece. But yeah, equating educating our children with gambling at the casino is a weird fucking position.
He's equating the money, paying your teachers. But yeah, that's about education.
Paying your teachers is somehow a gamble. Right. Yeah. Gotcha. Look, yesterday we put up a chart showing that our debt loading is so low compared to so many countries that we don't even feature on that list. So this whole thing of like, we've got too much debt is bullshit. It is fine to borrow for things that are worth it.
Things like infrastructure. Imagine it's the government version of building a house. No one buys their house outright. We borrow in a long-term investment and we pay it back. Whatever the government equivalents of that are, roads and, I don't know, ferries and terminals and stuff that are going to be around, hospitals for 100 years, fine. No problems. Tax breaks, Nicola? Not so much. Not
a lifetime of education.
Yep.
For our citizenry.
Yeah. Fine. All right, we'll keep going. I was wondering, I don't know why I was wondering this. I wonder if Ryan Bridge will lose confidence when he goes bald. There's something about him which I think he is going to be a bald man at some stage. I don't know why I think that. Perhaps it's the soothsayer in me coming out.
It's all the cooking oil that he puts in his head.
Maybe.
And spending the money like, we're at the casino, when we're in a deficit and we're not even paying down our debt, the servicing costs of which are near on $10 billion.
Ryan,
I'd really love to address the Fitch report if I can come to that after.
I'll let David.
Look, first of all, if you look at the basic story of the last 6 or 7 years, when the Labor government came in, education spending was 14 billion. It's now over 20. So in the last 7 years, education spending has gone up about 50%. If you look at health spending, when the Labor government was elected, it was 18 billion. It's now 32. So it's gone up over 70% in 6 or 7 years. We can talk all we like about how much money we're spending, but the truth is that we have increased spending in this country enormously in education and in health. You now see a nurse at $127,000.
Excuse me. How many times do we need to debunk this? And now it's just being parroted by all of them. Let's say this as well, eh? And this does stick in my craw a little bit, but let's be fair. Good on Judith Collins for coming out saying, I made a mistake, I need to correct it. Because these other fuckers haven't done this about nurses. So 1 point of credit, every dog has its day, broken clock, yada, yada, yada. At least she retracted. Still did harm, that lie still did harm, that continues on today because people are still saying it, but she did come out and correct it. One point of credit. That's all.
Really the challenge is how do we get more efficiency? Not just talk about we tax more, we spend more. We've done that. The challenge is now how do we get
the
more
results,
efficiency? And that's why you look at education changes.
Don't
it's about
finish
the curriculum
your
that's
thought, Ryan.
the way it's assessed. It's about the shape of the classrooms. There's other things you can do other than spend money to get.
We'll get to the results in a second, but Chloe, quick reply from you.
Yeah, well, just to the point around results, the results that this government is getting but are starting to slash and burn the things that all of us value is 191 New Zealanders leaving the country every single day. We're seeing massive challenges in the front line of our emergency department. You don't just need to look at the evidence and data to see that. You just need to have an experience of waiting for hours with a loved one and seeing that nurses and doctors are working overtime to provide that wraparound support. But to come back to the point that you made before around debt, Ryan.
Yeah.
What actually that Fitch report demonstrated is that credits ratings agencies have far more sophisticated understandings of debt than our current government, let alone our own Treasury currently does, which is that we actually can use debt for productive means. That is to build our resilience, which means investing in our infrastructure, and ultimately that bolsters our financial stability. So the way that this government has decided to use debt to pay for tax cuts have generated zero jobs and in fact all the worse financial stability.
All right,
I think that this is where we need to have a more nuanced and sophisticated conversation.
Well,
we have
agree,
some results to talk
I
about.
need to move on because this is inconvenient.
It is weird that this whole pressure to move on. These guys are acting like it's a radio show and you've got news coming up. It's not. Just shut up, Ryan, and let them finish the point. What's the rush?
Results that we're getting in healthcare. We've set targets for waiting times in ED. We've set targets for waiting times for GPs.
And we'll see where we get to with the targets
of surgery.
Yeah.
And all of those, they are improving.
Let's talk results.
We got to get away from the rhetoric and put the facts in.
Okay, let's
talk. We're not going to talk results. That's all bollocks from there. Because what happens after this is he actually goes back to saying again it's Chloe puts it back on point when they try and move it off it again. It's ridiculous. Chewy, what are your thoughts? More teacher stuff.
I kind of want to talk, circle back to Judith Collins' apology. We saw that last night. We played the clip of it. It was, I don't even think it technically fulfills the requirements to be called an apology. She said that her press release was correct and that her messaging was wrong. And that's what she apologised for. She didn't say that she had the incorrect information, that the average teacher isn't on $140,000 or whatever the fuck she said.
Says she got it wrong. The average teacher is not earning $140K. That's not what she said.
Yeah, but she said her press release was correct. The information in her press release was correct, but she mixed up her messaging. That is not, I'm sorry for a piece of misinformation that we're not going to put to bed and my colleagues are going to continue to parrot for the next couple of days. That's my bad. It was a weak apology.
There is another part of this interview, which I'm just trying to do two things once we get this across here as well first, which I fucking hate. I fucking hate the kind of let's do something silly and awkward and fun.
The answer, thank you. Now, we've got problems with deepfakes. I know you both need to go, but just to prove you are both real, can you give us a high five? There we go.
But what would be even more real?
I hate that shit. I hate that kind of silliness sort of thing. This shit, I hate this shit.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I haven't got this full story yet, but like, because one thing it does is it does a bunch of normalizing to a bunch of really bad people sometimes. I don't know what Chippy's into there, but I don't like the let's give these vindictive arsonist assholes a way to show lightness in society. I'm not, no criticism. I don't know the story yet about Chippy being involved, but there's something in it that I'm just like, I don't like it. I don't like this kind of media stuff. And I think that it's bad for these guys. Have you guys not covered this? I thought this would have been front and center on Monday.
No, I don't think that either Ems or I could handle the aggressive levels of
twerking,
whatever this is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's several, like Caucasians have it tough sometimes, and pulling off an impromptu high five on TV or dancing at what seems to be some sort of Indian cultural event.
It's the Independence Day.
That's not where Caucasians need to be. That's not our place. But yeah, that's not a good look. One thing that does leap to mind though, Christopher Luxon hasn't had any time for any New Zealand-based cultural events. He couldn't make it to Waitangi, but he's certainly there for that one.
Yeah, but so was Chippy. It's like we're having a look
Chippy
at this.
Chippy was at Waitangi though.
Yeah, I mean, like I was wondering if this is what kept him away from the fucking Ukraine phone call. It was at Indian Independence Day celebrations in Auckland because it seems to be around the same time. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know I'm being a bit particular and maybe a little bit bitchy, but I just hate I hate normalizing these arsonists. It's like, no, like Chloe was the first to hold her hand up and they did an uncomfortable whatever. I mean, like, I just don't like it. I can remember being involved with a radio station that was running a fairly large festival and TVNZ was there, One News was there, and they were recording the people, and there was 30,000 people, and they were like, can you do this and shout this big loud word? And I just went, no. And the other guys, I'm like, yeah, you guys can do that. Go for it. I'm not interested in sort of being your clown on the news tonight. This is a festival that brings tens of millions of dollars into the economy, that's got 30,000 people here, international acts, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to be your rodeo clown. And I just don't like the rodeo clown aspect of this. I think it's demeaning to normal people like Chippy, and I think it puts the other side, who are arsonists and evil and making decisions for vulnerable people, making their lives worse every single day. It gives them some, oh, look at that, this is a bit of a laugh, and it brings them some form of normality. I'm not about it. I'm not about it.
One practical piece of advice for fellow Caucasians that need to pull off a high five at short notice: you look at the other person's elbow. That's how you get it to go. That's how I was taught by a non-Caucasian person. The other thing is, Chloe had the opportunity to do the funny thing at the end of the after that high five, and just that's even better. If she fucking left him hanging, that'd be great. But if she went, oh, why are you so moist? Just as they cut away, that would have been amazing.
Alrighty. I don't know. I actually acknowledge I'm probably the one in the wrong for that thing. It's just, I just hate it. I hate all that bullshit.
It's a personal opinion. You're allowed to have a personal opinion. It's lame.
Well, that's not what you told me last week. It's just that. It's like, okay, I get it. You're a politician and you're in the public eye. That doesn't mean you have to look like a complete twat every minute of the day just because you're at an event where they're saying, come and dance with us. You don't have to say yes. Anyway, that's why I'm not a politician, Chewy. Do you want to do some of the super chats, and I'm just lining up the next story?
Yeah, there's a whole two, so I hope it takes ages. Ian says, good education equals fewer cookers. Absolutely. Net benefit to the entire fucking country. Kiwi Burb says, Chloe held back on the high five. She's stronger than she looks. Speaking from personal experience, this seems to be a story we need to dig into. Did Chloe attack you in the street? Pull off some sort of wrestling move? Did she take something from you? I don't know. It feels like this is something we need to dig into further at a different time. That is the super chats. I've padded for as much time as I can with that. Nice. Are you ready, Pat?
Yeah,
Please be ready.
Yeah. I've been sitting there waiting for you, bro.
Good. Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm just thinking what we've done. You've done all that. Let's have a look at Hana Tamaki. Like, honestly, the position I was left with today after watching this is that Hana Tamaki is not a very smart person, and I'm not using that as a mock or a put down. Some people are smart.
She's just got a perfectly smooth brain. There's too much Botox. Not. It's gone through the skull and it's smoothed out her brain. There's no lumps or bumps or ridges.
Like, we're going to look at a part of the conversation where Bomber wants to ask about the actions of Destiny Church, and she tries to distance herself from the actions of Destiny Church, although they are all under her somewhat control. They are her disciples, her flock, so to speak. And the most beautiful part about this, and I'll point it out when it happens, is when she says that Bomber bringing up Brian tarnishes her. So the mention of her husband tarnishes her and tarnishes her political run. So it sounds like what she's saying is, he's not good to be associated with, my husband, that guy, because he tarnishes her. Let's have a listen to the part of the conversation between these two.
Your husband, Bishop Brian Tamaki, has called
Never mind my husband, we're not talking about him, we're talking about me and the by-election and what I'm standing for. So let's get rolling about what Hannah Tamaki wants to do in Tamaki.
Indeed, but he has called on his followers to use force in ripping down the flags of other religions on the street. Isn't a prerequisite for engaging in the democratic process a total abandonment of violence and intimidation as a tactic? And hasn't his calls for street violence
New Zealand flags,
against
they were
other
not
faiths?
our Indigenous flags. They are other flags, and I'm not talking about other things when we're talking.
So the unfortunate thing for her there is the real answer came out first. The xenophobic answer came out first. But why are we talking about that? They weren't New Zealand flags, i.e., yeah, it's fine to rip down flags that don't represent New Zealand. Although in saying that, I suspect that should have some problem with some New Zealand flags as well.
And hasn't his calls for street violence
New Zealand flags,
against
they were
other
not
faiths?
our Indigenous flags. They are other flags, and I'm not talking about other things when we're talking about a by-election here, and we're talking about me wanting to stand and represent the people that aren't represented that I know. And I think
Both of them.
too, people say to me, you don't speak the real. Well, I know that there are lots of people that don't speak the real, but it doesn't mean you don't have a heart and a passion for our people. So I'm not talking about my husband or anything else. Actually, he didn't even know I was doing this Zoom until about 20 minutes ago.
No, I don't know if I believe that point. Yeah, I don't know.
So he sticks to his kaupapa and I'm sticking to mine. And I do not appreciate you straight away bringing that in and tarnishing me for what I'm wanting to do here in Tamaki.
Oh, so bringing conversations and the question around Brian Tamaki tarnishes her. So he tarnishes her. So he's bad.
I mean,
enough.
she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
I agree, but I don't know if she realizes she's just said that her husband is tarnishing her. And from their kind of religious sect, I also wonder if how that will be handled when the man has some authority within a relationship, the way they believe things.
I'm not saying Destiny Church are Christo-fascist brown shirts, but attacking other faiths on the street does make them look like brunette blouses, doesn't it? Can you honestly claim their appalling actions don't reflect upon you as a candidate?
No, they don't. Because I'm standing for people, for everyday people, for urban Māori, and I'm going to stand up very strongly for the wahine.
Sorry, just to point, this is the bit that just doesn't sound very well formed. And that makes me go, maybe it's just not a very smart answer. Like, I'm not actually trying to be offensive towards her. I'm observing an inept answer coming from someone for a very obvious question that you should be prepared for any sort of rebellious interviewer to throw at you.
Because I think that it's important that they have a voice, and there's nothing wrong with having a faith, whether we do things differently. Now, those flags that were ripped were not Catholic, Anglican, or any of those types of faith. They were foreign faiths. And so we're talking about what we can do.
You know, all those faiths that didn't come across in the waka, Chewy, like right back in the 800, they're all those faiths. But like Christianity came across in the waka, so that's different.
New Zealand. Now, straight away, you bring that in because you want to put me in a category of being, I don't know, whatever you want to do. But reality is, I'm here because I believe that I can help everyday people, families. I've worked 27 years here in Auckland, 40 years with people, and I don't think anyone can dispute the fact that I have a heart actually for the whānau.
There we go. There's another clip to play, and also, Chewy, I can see on the Facebook page, there's actually some updates about the debate that's happening tonight. Do you want to share anything on the first part of it before we go into the second part? If librarians need to be fearful if she gets in because they might be storming all the libraries?
I think this is an absolutely devastating example of what happens when you believe your echo chamber too much.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I said, like the complaints that have come out today are about questions that they didn't agree to. It's an interview, love. Like, it's, I mean, like, I suspect, we can ask Bob this, I suspect that they wouldn't have asked for questions to be delivered to them. They would be complaining. I had someone the other day, it doesn't even matter who it was, say to us, could we have the questions forwarded? And I went, no. In fact, I know who it was. It was for Helen Clark. They'd like to see the questions. And I said, no, we don't do that. It's more like a conversation over a beer, and we just have a chat. And they went, okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, Helen Clark, Hannah. It's like
yeah.
So we don't.
Look, there's a place for that. Like if we're going to ask a hugely technical question that's going to require research, sure.
Yeah.
But this is not that conversation. Also, to what you kind of hinted at, I want to spell out completely. Like, Destiny is definitely one of these churches where the man is the head of the family and the woman is the wife or the mother is subservient to the man of the house.
Yeah.
So I think bringing up her husband, the very politically active Bishop Brian, is definitely a valid question. You don't get to sidestep that.
100% agree. 100% agree. Let's look at the second question, because Bomber starts off with a very good reference back to, is it Te Atatu Library that was stormed by these guys? Should librarians be fearful should she get elected? No, and we go into a conversation around banning books, and of course the most egregious of all offenders, we need to also ban bike lanes. That's what Hana Tamaki thinks.
If you were the winner of the by-election, would librarians have anything to fear from Destiny Church members attacking their local library?
No, librarians would not. It's when people want to go and influence young children. Now, here we go again. You're deliberately
like librarians.
trying to cast me.
Like what she's saying is librarians would be fine unless they're those ones who try and trans all the kids. That's literally exactly what she's saying. Librarians are fine. It's about people influencing our kids, like you're saying, Chewy, like librarians.
Like them, they influence children.
Yeah, totally.
No, librarians would not. It's when...
And it's got to also hint to where it's librarians. There's an R in there. Barians as librarians.
People want to go and influence young children. Now, here we go again. You're deliberately trying to cast me in a picture. But
Yes, he is. You're correct. And the picture is an accurate take on you and your beliefs, and what that would mean for the public to vote you in.
Look, I can go to the library, I can go to the council building, I can go to the tax department, I can go to the bank, and no one feels threatened by me. So half the time I think you're just trying to throw a whole lot of ugliness up here, Martin. Be fair in your question. Are you going to talk to Penny like this? Are you going to talk to Irene like this?
Well,
or
I don't think Penny or Irene have called for violence on the street, whereas your partner
I've never called for violence on the street either. So what
but your partner has.
No, I have not.
Do you honestly think that these guys, like Brian Tamaki and Hana Tamaki, let's say that the partner of Christopher Hipkins committed some, we won't even say that because I won't put that out there, but partner of left-wing politician X did something horrific. Imagine if it was like the partner of someone in the Greens did something horrific, that they'd go, oh yeah, but that's not the Green MP. There's a line there. It's not the Green MP at all. I just don't think that would be the case.
If you were the winner of the by-election, would you ban any books in our libraries?
Well, it all depends what's...
That gap... Have you seen the episode of The Simpsons?
Oh, so long.
Have you seen that episode of The Simpsons where Monty Burns is trying to get elected and he goes to the Simpsons place for dinner and Marge does a protest by cooking the three-eyed fish?
Yeah.
And the PR team are behind the cameras going to this, and he eats and he takes a mouthful and he spits it and it goes into slow motion. And by the time the piece of fish has landed again, he's lost the election. That's like that gap. It's like pause, fuck. What do I say?
Yes.
No, I have not.
If you were the winner of the by-election, would you ban any books in our libraries?
Well, it all depends what sort of books you're talking about. If they're
so that's a maybe. That's a I'm open to it. That's a possibly.
Well, it all depends what sort of books you're talking about. If they're demonic books, well, yes, I may. But I don't know. I'd have to find out what sort of books. But I would not ban Māori language books or books that teach children.
Sorry, I'm just pausing. It's not to do with that. That was a really good question, Bomber, if you're watching. That was a really good question to ask. Well done, sir.
In the right ways of family or anything like that. So, no, I think that it's important that children do actually learn to read. I think that our language is important. important.
If you were the winner, would the flags of other faiths be allowed in Auckland?
Well, that's not up to me. That's what the councils decide, don't they?
Well, I mean,
It's
sure,
not
but
up to
as a representative of Tamaki Makaurau.
Here we go again, Martin. Get a grip and start asking me decent questions, things that will actually work. I'll tell you what I'd like to do. The first thing I'd like to do is move all those bike racks in Auckland.
Ban the bike
cars are
lanes.
getting damaged because they're running it. I don't even see any cyclists riding on those bike tracks. So that's the first thing I want done in Auckland is get rid of those things because you're taking up parking spaces, you're damaging cars, you're not working for the people.
Vote Hannah Tamaki. Pro congestion charges. Pro combustion engines.
Look, around South Auckland, I don't see anybody riding a bicycle. So those things to me are far more important than what you're trying to talk to me about tonight.
Well,
I don't appreciate your questioning.
Most people don't. If you
Can I just say one thing that could possibly stray somewhere close to praise of Tamaki there?
Sure.
It was a dumb point that she was making. It was super dumb. But she almost pulled off a redirect. Bomber produced a question saying, would you do this specific thing that is absolutely troll bait for me to push forward? And
Yeah.
she stumbled through, that's a stupid, dumb question, rah, rah, rah. As a politician, your job, your number one job in the media is to tell us something that you want to tell us. And she almost stuck it. She landed on a dumb thing because she had to think of it in the fly. But that is the perfect reversal. I'm not going to talk about this. What I am going to tell you is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something that a lot of people would like and therefore vote for me. But she fucked it up. She absolutely fucked it up. But yeah.
So the flow
almost.
The flow on today is there's been press releases. The ambush and exclusion of Hannah Tamaki in the world. The treatment of Hannah Tamaki on Wātea Tuesday political debate last night by the Bradbury Group and Matt Tukaki was appalling. Hannah's media team had not agreed to Hannah's media team had not agreed to the questions she was confronted with. Now, there's wiggle room there. That might mean they didn't agree to any questions. They might not have asked for the questions, and you could still say that and be honest. And the vitriol from panellist Matthew Tukaki revealed a deeply personal and bitter agenda. The host, Martin Bomber Bradbury, was equally disrespectful towards a candidate who has simply put her hand up to represent Tamaki Makaurau. Now, this is a couple of things in here. I'm going to play you a couple of clips because they also, of course, released video. And the first bit's from 26 seconds from here. Have a listen to what she had to say from her comfy chair this morning.
I think Martin thought that he was going to ragdoll me because his handlers, John Tamahere and Willie Jackson, had set him up with the things to say to me. Now,
if they'd set him up for things to say to you, that means they know stuff about you. That means they're valid questions.
Accusations that he was making, I did not tear flags. You did not see me in any of that footage. I have never been to any of those libraries. And as for Matt Tukaki, the man who actually was under investigation for his CV reporting of him and his position at Drake Enterprise in Australia.
Oh, it's just not. This is their best statement. This is Hannah Tamaki at her best making a public statement. It's just not good.
So it's very rich of these guys, and if they think that I'm the sort of woman that's going to back down, well, they're wrong. It's actually made me more determined. I went to bed so happy, giggling to myself how I came.
It's a bit weird.
That's definitely a thing that happened. That's a real human reaction.
Imagine your wife coming to bed, or if you're a lady person, your husband coming to bed, or your wife if you're a lady person, or your husband if you're a boy person, coming to bed going, what are you laughing at, hun? Oh, I just feel so good about what Bomber just did to me. Excuse me?
came back at them, and I wasn't going to let them take advantage of me. Now,
yeah. So that's the first part. I just wanted the handler thing. There's another part from here, which is at 4:26, which I'll play you as well.
Do you think, just as an aside with this video,
Not often,
because it's
very
polished and rehearsed and that sort of thing, do you think this is an example of her just basically going, okay, cool, so that's the video, we're done here, and someone goes, do you want to have another go? And she goes, nah, fucking nailed it first time, I'm out, peace. And drives off? Or do you think this is the best of 16 attempts?
Yeah, I think answers to both of those have equal validity and are as equally simple. One of the things that I don't think Bomber did do, which would have been interesting to see, is asking about the sex offenders that were in her church that were protected by, not sure how we'd word that for legal reasons, but anyway, you get the point. Have a listen to the last, there's about 30 seconds here that I want to play. This is the thing about their handlers. Again, they're handlers. They're handlers. It's UN, WEF, Jabson.
Everybody knows Everybody knows that Bomber can't form a question of his own. He needs people to feed him questions. It's a well-known thing in the industry.
So Bomber's got a handler. Bomber's got a handler and?
Katie Pie, I actually had a good night last night, and to call me angry when I'm actually defending myself, defending the stance of deliberate attacks on me that I had, I didn't even know that they were going to attack me on those things, but then.
Can I just say this again?
Wow.
This is the best one. Whether it's one and done Chewy, that she thinks this is the best, or this is 16, this is the best version they've put out.
Yeah. Matthew, when Matthew was in hospital in Sydney after he'd had a stroke and he was very unwell, a mutual friend of ours that he knows, Javan, when he came to visit Matthew in hospital in Sydney, I sent my aroha. I said, Javan, give Matthew my aroha.
So you should let me do all my cult stuff because I sent my love.
So for Matthew to deliberately attack me because of my faith, because of who I'm married to, and because of what church I love, that's got nothing to do with what I'm doing. So I just think that those things are cowardice, they're gutless, and his handlers need to wind his head in. And if he thinks that I'm going to be intimidated by anything he says, well, he knows what he can do. He can take a great big jump because I'm not intimidated by him. And in actual fact, I think I've already won because I thought that...
No, they haven't voted yet. Votes are still... Are you not aware, Hannah? Votes haven't been cast yet. You haven't won yet.
I stood against men, chauvinistic men, racist, obviously, because they picked on a Māori woman who genuinely wants to stand up and represent people. So this is me. I'm happy with the way I responded last night.
Yeah, that's enough from you as well. If you're happy with that, mate, you don't know what you're doing. Now, I don't know what these are, Chewy, but they obviously tried to attend the debate tonight that they were excluded from, and I think that we should have a look to see what the actual videos show. But before we do that, anything else that you'd like to add to on the Smooth Brain?
Do you know what I love about elections? They count the votes. We're going to have to revisit this and see how many ordinary people she represents.
Yeah. 4 maybe.
Because let's be very honest. Destiny has its supporters, and they're involved in everything that Destiny does. Every little side project and cause and political party that they want to throw in, they're wholeheartedly behind that. But then everybody else greatly dislikes Destiny. Like there's no middle ground. They're divisive. There's almost no one that's ambivalent towards what Destiny does and the people that are in it. I love that she mentioned Jevan or or whatever that guy's name is, who's embezzled, who enabled a sexual predator, and the bribery of his victims. It's good. It's always good that you mention someone with that sort of back history as a close personal friend. It's a good reminder to people to link those two people together.
It was Paul Barlow did a really good thing the other day where he did a in memoriam of all the voices for victory people that aren't standing in this year's election. It's very funny. I haven't got it queued up. It would have been good to play it now to see about it, but we'll leave that. Maybe I'll try and find it tomorrow. Paul, if you're watching, just send us a link super quick to where that in memoriam is. Let's have a look at this. I don't know what this is. I don't know what we're going to see exactly here, but the words say, here's proof that the Māori radicals are clutching onto power and will do anything to shut down anyone who doesn't agree with their agenda. Okay, so here's proof apparently. Well, let's have a look. So because someone stormed the stage of a debate who wasn't invited or allowed to be there, that's proof that Māori radicals are hanging on to power. The Wātia debate. I recognise that guy. Do you recognise that guy? Who was the dude? Do you know who he might be? That guy.
Who's that?
Do you remember the guy who, I could be wrong, but the guy who looked over the fence for...
oh, yes.
Was he a Destiny guy?
That. Yes, he was.
This guy just looks a bit familiar.
Oh, rough.
Yeah. Well, there you go. A little bit of breaking news. Apparently, because a protester, fine, right to protest, can't get what the protester wants, that means that they've been justified in everything they believe. Chewy, that's me. You've got the speech, the thing you want to add, you want to show, unless there's anything you want to talk about there. Oh gosh, we've got 10 in the start as well. Okay, we need to get to those.
Yeah, well, let's go through this. Let's close out the show with Kieran McAnulty taking a fucking flamethrower to an entire side of the house. But before that, let's go through some super chats. Sorry. Whoop.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought I was doing
it.
Yep.
Sorry, Pat, you can't do this normalising things. You normalise Stanford and Mitch took away Chlöe and kids' books. Look, I clarified well, at least what I say about Stanford and Discord. I think it's worth saying here as well. We've kind of taken the position that Erica Stanford is probably the best that National has in their front bench. That is both a true statement and not a compliment. That's a commentary on the weakness.
I'll tell you something else.
National.
I'll tell you something else. Seeing it's an accusation at me. The other thing is that was her spitting the fish out moment. She's done. She's done.
Yeah, she fucked it up. She absolutely fucked it up.
And remember, the week before, she was doing things that no other national MP was doing by inviting people to do some collaborative work on the education stuff. They wouldn't do it. So the thing is, does anyone even remember where this started from? This whole Pat Erica Stanford thing? Does anyone even remember? It's got literally nothing to do with her politics or normalizing her or nothing. You tell them, Chewy.
Because she's cute. It's because she's cute.
That was it. We talked about the good-looking MPs. Because we're
when we did talk about when we did talk about Erica Stanford, one of the things that suggested that she might be a good political operator is that she was ducking all of the shit that was going on around her. All the bad stuff that was happening in education was down to David Seymour, and it wasn't anything to do with her, even though nominally she's the person in charge of the portfolio. She was able to duck all this bullshit, and then the one time she started to come out on front foot something. It blew up in her face because she did a great big racism.
Yep.
And then tried to brush it off, going, "Oh, it's this one book," and it turns out it's all of them.
Yeah. And also,
and that's because of her advisors that she has around her. It's made people look and consider who's advising her. And the name escapes me. Is it someone Rata or something like that?
Oh,
that has just taken a white supremacist, European supremacist view on education that we just can't have anything to do with Māori in it. And that's who's whispering in Erica Stanford's ear.
And also remember, if nothing else, the honesty I think we have in this show is the ability to change positions. Both Chewy and I were saying pre-election that Nicola Willis was a far better politician than Christopher Luxon. Exactly. But we were.
Oh, God.
Because,
we're so wrong.
Because that's easy to do in opposition, and the leader is the only one that really puts their head up. And after about 7 minutes after they became a government and she cancelled the ferries, we were like, oh, we were wrong.
Yeah, we're so wrong.
So there's no problems going the positional thoughts around her being a more moderate. Well, actually, I think she can still come across as a more moderate MP, but I think what's happened with Tadeo in schools. No, but she can come across as that.
Yeah.
But I think that now what we're seeing as avoiding the chaos, Chewy, what we're seeing there is calculated cowardice for future endeavours, whereas we thought maybe in the past, as you just said, Chewy, that it was kind of clever staying out of the dirt because things change. So, yeah.
Mr. Arvids, talking about Hana Tamaki here, is she advocating for wahine Māori now? What about that wahine Māori in John Campbell's doco?
Oh, yeah. She was very, very
impactful. So it just doesn't stand up. It doesn't. She's trying to position herself as a strong, independent woman that don't need no man. That's not what her church is about. That's not what she's about. She's done none of this in the past to show that that's what she's about. It's all bullshit. And she'll get absolutely trounced in this election, and I'm here for it. Rajan, anybody got some good demonic book recommendations? Look, I would check with your local library, usually in the kids section. Again, Hunter's trying to Winstonify the Māori seat. Akadaka Cat, beware the man who only reads one book. These fundy hustlers are cultural and societal pathogen, a scam as old as time. Brian and Hannah Tamagrift.
I think about those Tamagotchis. Remember Tamagotchis? You used to have to keep them alive.
You'd have to let these two die, Pat, as soon as possible. It's easier to fool people than convince people that they have been fooled. That's very true.
Yeah.
Mr. Harvard again. Handle these nuts. Very mature political insight there. Hannah, please read 1 Timothy 2:11-12 in your book. Peter, she'll claim the election was rigged. Yep, absolutely. Consider how an AI thumb on the scale slipping erroneous history, e.g. Britain freed India or brought etiquette to Aotearoa, would derail real history.
That person putting up the 1 Timothy thing, a woman should learn in quietness and full submission. Do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet.
Yikes.
And some people,
all right.
And some people believe that. Some people believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that it? What about your little vids?
That wouldn't fly with literally any woman I know. Okay, so a little bit of setup here. Kieran McAnulty went on the fence today and just torched the other side of the house. This is some of his best work I have seen. Are we ready? Have you got your cup of tea, your snacks? Are you comfy? Let's settle in. This is a cracker.
Are down, morale is down. It's so bad they have to train their MPs to clap Louise Upton. That's how bad things are. Now, they can't replace Luxon in the general debate with Bishop because Bishop polls better than Luxon. They can't replace him with Nicola Willis because she's going around telling Kiwis in London that she's going to roll him. Did you see the post? Gentle whispers, they said, gentle whispers that Nicola Willis might be the next Prime Minister. What the post didn't say is it was her that was doing the whispering. She's been going around telling everybody it's going to be me. Real gentle, it's going to be me. Now, she's got form. Just remember before the last election, do you remember when she got in some hot water when she was discussing with the Auckland business community about rolling Luxon then? And then yesterday, she stood up, all buoyed by her own rumours and her own whispers, and took the Prime Minister's lectern right in front of his face. How bolshy can you get? So no, she's out. It can't be. It's got to be Louise Upton. Consider the barrel scraped. If that was the message of this government, how can they possibly expect to give New Zealanders hope? But this is true to form from this government. This is true to form. They think that they can say that black is white and people will believe them. They think that they can say that they are going to make things better when actually, what have they done? They've made it worse. They think they can claim to have built 7,000 houses. That's what Christopher Luxon said in the House on numerous occasions. In the House, where you are bound by truth. How many have they built? 45. 45 houses when they promised. Nicola Willis signed a pledge and promised to build 1,000 net social houses in Auckland, and they built 45 in 2 years. They said they would build more houses than the previous government. What have they done? They've scrapped housing, they've stopped people moving into emergency housing, and homelessness has gone up at unprecedented levels. That's right. People are sleeping on the street because of every single one of them. They voted for the budget to scrap billions out of the housing, and they celebrated saving $1 billion because people are on the street. How shameless can you get? They don't care. They do not care because they have a strategy to distract and divide. That's right. Now, Mr. Speaker, there's one thing that New Zealanders hate, and that is a lie. And if you were to extend that further, there's only one thing worse, and that is a repeated lie. And there have been repeated lies after repeated lies after repeated lies. What is interesting is that they think New Zealanders are thick, that they can stand there and tell them that the last government wasted money over COVID. It was a pitiful, pathetic effort from Louise Upton, but if you listen closely, that was the message she was trying to get across. They think New Zealanders are so dumb that they won't remember at the time they voted for it. They supported it. And in fact, I have a quote here from Paul Goldsmith. We obviously back this and how this money is spent. We support the government. We encourage them to go further. That's what they said. That is what they said. And now they're turning around and saying, oh, no, that was wasted money. They said they would fix the cost of living. Things have got worse. They said they would fix housing. Things have got worse. They said they would fix health. Things have got worse. New Zealanders are waking up to this. There's nothing worse than a repeated lie. Perhaps a close second is an empty promise. That is all they are. They are full of PR, hot wind, empty promises, and absolutely no delivery. The cost of cheese, the cost of mince, the cost of daily basics. Rates have gone up because of them. Insurance has gone up because of them. And because they gave landlords a $2.9 billion tax cuts, they think all is well. Well, I've got a message for the government. Just because your mates think it's going well doesn't mean it is. Ordinary New Zealanders are suffering because of their negligence, because of their division, because of their destruction, and they're waking up to it. This government, led by an absolute dud of a Prime Minister, only has months to go, and New Zealanders cannot wait for the change.
Gosh, it is like watching the A-Team, isn't it? You know, it's like there's a difference there. It's like, I wonder if people turn up to see the A-Team's on. The A-Team's definitely on then.
Kieran did not come to play today. He came with the whole bag. He had receipts. He swung at everybody. He torched them down to the ground, and he walked right up to that red line that says you can't call a minister a liar. I think he knew exactly 100% what he was doing it, and there is no lies detected. That was straight fire.
Yeah,
well done,
agree.
Mr. McAnulty.
And it looked like even if he was, you know, if he had the ideas written down, he certainly delivered that in an amazing way. Like that was that was a great orator speaking. And just to echo what he just said, this came out in the last couple of days. I saw it on Facebook for the cost of living. This is maybe I should. I know it's from a group called The Professional, who went shopping at Woolworths. Costs $78 for 2 packets of mints and 2 blocks of butter in New Zealand.
Jesus.
So there is, and we should probably have we want to definitely make sure that this is keeping them honest. Back you go. Yep. $30 for mints, $30 for mints, $8.50.
1 kilo, Jesus. Yeah.
So 77.
Remember, mints is the cheap family meal for keeping kids fed on a budget.
Yeah. So this is, remember what, 2 weeks ago when they were talking about inflation, Luxon probably accidentally said we own this now. $78 for 2 1 kilo minces and 2 pounds of butter. You own that now. Cost of living, you own that now. You know, underfunded teachers, you own that now. No ferries, you own that now. They're yours, you own them. You're not going to be able to go into the next election saying, oh, but Labour. It's like, no. It doesn't take more than 3 years to get your clause into legislation and to see a change. It might take longer for a complete change, but to see a change. If it keeps getting worse, that's because you have not implemented things to make it better. That's on you. Chewy.
Look, Hana Tamaki might be going to bed giggling because Bomber was mean to her. I am going to go to bed smiling, thinking of Kieran McAnulty's speech, and then my headcanon here is it was immediately followed up by an equally incendiary speech from Chloe Swarbrick. Can you imagine that 1-2 combo? Like maybe if they were leader and deputy leader of the government. Just saying.
I think we're done, team. It's been a nice first night back. Lots and lots and lots of stuff going on behind the scenes at the moment here at the Big Hairy Network. Little heads up, Craig Rennie's podcast is not coming out tomorrow morning. It's coming out Friday morning. It's coming out Friday morning because he's talking to the PPTA. And there wasn't enough time to get that done today. And they're going to be going over the strikes and money and numbers. You know, nerding out with Craig. That's actually the other name for a show, Nerding Out with Craig. So that'll be out Friday morning. So will Gary Piender's new one as well. And remember, I'm sure you're aware of this, but the YouTube channel is now the Big Hairy Network. We're all there. And the Facebook is as well, the Big Hairy Network. So Craig's podcast last week, I think, got 5,000 views on Facebook alone. So there's places to get it, there's places to share it. And sometimes those platforms make it more difficult to share from other places, like to embed a YouTube video into Facebook. So they'll just be on Facebook. So Craig's stuff, Gary's stuff will all be going on the Big Hairy Network, which is the name of the page now on Facebook as well. Anything else, Chewy?
One last thing. I was handed this just before, as my wife came home. You can read that with my high quality camera. I'll read it to you. There is more protest action going on throughout the country. The pressure to do more for Palestine off the back of what's happened in Australia, what's happening in the UK, that sort of thing. There was quite a big rally that I forgot about last Saturday. We're not going to forget about the one coming up. This one's for Dunedin, 1 p.m, Saturday, 23rd of August, a Otago Museum rally for Palestine. Check for action where you live on Saturday.
Are they doing the whole rally at the museum, or are they starting at the museum and walking to the Octagon?
They'll be starting at the museum and walking into town, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But yes.
Okay.
It's been a long road. If you haven't been to a rally for a while, now's a good time to get back in the game. The pressure does seem to be making certain people crack. It's taken a long time, but we can't take our foot off the gas now.
Yeah, no, me and the dog and the 16-year-old went to Saturdays in Dunedin. It was bigger, so that groundswell is definitely coming back. Definitely coming back. All right, team, thanks for being with us tonight. Remember, Huhana will be joining us tomorrow night from the Greens. Other than that, thank you for being also very kind to me on my first night back, and we'll catch you tomorrow night for the next one.
Settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting peas from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a warpath to run, and linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A in a self and a higher in mind. All heavily, neither this way or that, and will be analyzed by what Chewy and Pat. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. It's big hairy news.
Anything else you need, Chewy? Anything else going on? What else can I do for you on my first night back? Anything else?
Look, I just got you to 1 hour and 50. I've done what I came here to do.
Right, team. We'll catch you tomorrow night. We'll be live from 9 p.m. for the next edition of Big Hairy News. Hooroo!
Cheers, fam.